lawsuit is more on an emotional level than it is on a who owns the property level, because the archdiocese still owns the properties of every religious order that is recognized by the archdiocese. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So technically, the nuns don't have a, as far as I understand, they don't have the strongest standing in saying, I choose to home. You can choose to sell to somebody who has a lower bid than the other person. You're not obligated to give it to the first bidder or the highest bidder. But these nuns don't have that option as a homeowner, because they're really sort of like the curators of the property that's actually owned by the archdiocese. And so it's kind of an awkward situation.
Well, it's just lasted and been dragged out for so long that I get the sense that at this point it's more about winning and losing than it is about the property itself. I mean, Katy Perry makes so much money. Like, there's no way that she can't find another nice place with a pool in LA somewhere. Like, I feel like it's just like kind of like a standing tall contest at this point.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we need to probably move on in a second, but the thing is also that one thing that I had overlooked is the nuns don't even live there right now. It's been not a convent for a few years.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, there was a battle in Pasadena, suburb of LA, about a religious college that was called Ambassador College, and it sat dormant because the church, it was owned by a Protestant church that split in two in the 90s, and the campus was maintained beautifully. It's just this amazing piece of land with multiple mansion-looking buildings and tons of incredible shrubbery and whatnot, and it was incredible to walk around on, and yet and people were wondering, like, who's paying for this? And somehow the church was locked in court over which half got to own the property. For like 15 years, they didn't do anything with it other than maintain this lavish land and let people randomly walk around on it. And sold it to developers, and it's now unfortunately being built on in every possible inch for more crappy typical apartments everywhere. But this is a different kind of case. It's one person wanting to maintain the building. It's just a matter of what was she going to do with it, and is it really it is, I guess, a fair question. Or is it really their business if she's willing to buy it and they're not even there, or is there really a valid concern when a building used to be a holy building?
The valid concern on a canonical level,
yeah.
Speaking strictly Catholic terms, in every property, like a convent or what have you, there is a chapel. And the chapel is consecrated by blessed water of Jesus, the consecrated wine. Just so you know.
Well, yeah, they could they probably would deconsecrate it, though, no? Before they sell it to her.
Well, no, but you can't undo that. That's there.
It does happen. It does happen.
Part of the property.
No, it does happen because in Chicago, R. Kelly, who's vastly weirder than Katy Perry,
for sure,
he bought a Catholic church, and keeps one of his creepy houses full of women in Chicago inside a church that got deconsecrated. But
it would have to be deconsecrated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What I can understand is that these nuns are like fighting for that. That's a canonical. That's the line of the canonical vow that they were talking about. Is that line of like, do we deconsecrate this? Where and it's kind of like, I can understand on their perspective, their whole world is like a spiritual level. And so on a spiritual level, this is very antithetical to what they're...
Well, I think, unless y'all have any more thoughts about it, I think that we should probably move on to the other shocking Katy Perry news.
There's a lot of shocking Katy Perry news.
Also, you learn something new every day. I didn't realize you could deconsecrate something, and I thought it was the same thing as like you can't uneat a burrito. Like I thought, like once it's
you could totally be bulimic. You just Michael, you can be bulimic, and it uneats the burrito. I'm just saying, it depends on how many minutes it was before.
Well,
I thought somebody was trying to eat it through this.
And I was going to hide this, but we have a sound man who's not Catholic, so we pay him to shut up. But he had a great joke
along the way. He learned a lot from us. I'm just saying.
He had a great joke along the way where he said, "Are we saying the nuns don't have a prayer?" But anyways. Yeah. So the next story is about Katy at the American Idol auditions.
Holy crap!
Yeah. So you watch this. I mean, basically, I'll give the setup about what happened here, and then I'll let you describe what it was like to watch this unfold. But basically, so American Idol's back after a couple of years off the air, strangely on ABC now instead of Fox where it started. And it still has the annoying Ryan Seacrest on. That's a whole other story. But they have new judges, I guess, across the board. It's Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, and I don't know who the third is. Do you guys know?
I don't know. There's some guy who's like
Luke Evans, I think.
Music, but I have no idea who he is. He's got a beard or something.
It's Luke Bryan of country music star. Luke Bryan.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so they said that basically some 19-year-old guy, Benjamin Glaze, appeared, and for whatever reason, he admitted that he had never saving his first kiss for a relationship. So Katy Perry responded by demanding that the 19-year-old come over to her and kiss her. He leaned to give her a peck on the cheek. She turned her head at the last minute, planted one right on his lips. He said afterward he was uncomfortable. He did not want to kiss her. Now he's disappointed that his first kiss has been ruined. And so the media responded by saying things like, he kissed a girl and he liked it, People magazine. The two were flirting, according to TMZ. Lucky guy, said many others. But Matthew Walsh on Catholic, one of the Catholic news sites said that he's like, look, this is, if a judge did that to a girl, that would be, everybody would be like freaking out that it's sexual assault or harassment or whatever. But, but turn the tables or make it, if you're famous enough, Katy Perry gets away with it. The media just snickers and memes about it. So, how did it seem? Did it seem like it was a creepy thing, or was it, or deal, or what?
To me, it was a creepy thing because, first of all, it's not just so much that it's creepy. I mean, he's 19, he's of an age of consent, but he specifically stated that he would not give his first kiss until he had a relationship with the woman. And to me, that's about, personal choice, and you should respect that. And the fact that I'm going to say, I'm 49 now, but I was 22 when I chose to give up my virginity, which ultimately I feel like, I wasted because the guy turned out to be an asshole, and therefore, but the thing is that it was my choice. It wasn't something that was taken from me. And so if the guy specifically says, I want to save my first kiss for relationship, which you can find in the clip on YouTube, it's not hard to find. He specifically says that, and she says, come over here and give me a kiss on the cheek. And he obliges, but you understand that he's a subordinate situation. He's being judged. He has to prove his worth to others. And so he does so. And then she complains and says, well, it wasn't even it didn't even make a smooch sound, she says, something of the sort. And so that wasn't good enough. So that is even more demeaning to the guy, in my opinion.
Oh, so she made him do it twice?
It's more demeaning.
Or she just knocked it?
She just said it was not good enough. And then she asked him to kiss her on the cheek again. And that's when she snuck in the kiss on the lips.
Oh, okay.
And and everybody else we're like, oh, how was it? Oh, did you get him? Oh, did you do this? And oh, ha ha. And to me, as a person, as a female, waiting to give up and sacrifice my virginity at 20 was considered so freaking weird. Uh-huh. And I shouldn't have had to wait that long, blah, blah, blah. But to me, it was this society and popular culture says you're a weirdo for waiting, and he's only 19. In a couple of years, he's not going to be allowed to own a rifle,
Yeah.
at the age of 19. So why should he be, doing what he thinks is an important sexual part of himself to others? And she tricked him. She tricked him on national television.
Yeah.
And not only that, demeaned him before that, said it wasn't good enough, and that was even worse to me. And that's coming from a female perspective. I don't know what, Michael is younger than me, and so somewhat of a different generation. But Michael, what did you think about that concept of this guy, particularly specifically saying what he wanted or needed?
Well, first of all, I'm imagining in my head like referees looking at the replay telestrator and thinking and saying okay, did she establish the smooch? Was the smooch sound established? Then it counts. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, Katy Perry is she's 33 years old. She's a full-grown adult, and this is one of those things where it wasn't a big deal to her, and she probably forgot about it less than 5 minutes later. But for a teenager, that actually is really a big deal. Your first kiss, and you want it to be a kind of a special thing, and especially when he said specifically that he's saving it for a relationship. I thought that was actually kind of a rotten thing that she kind of tricked him into doing that. Yeah. I think it would be one thing if she knew that he hadn't had the first kiss and he did not have the caveat about wanting to save it. And if she'd said okay, well, how would you like me to be your first kiss? At that point, I thought it would have been kind of cool, actually. I know if I were in his shoes, I'd be like, yes, please, you can be my, Katy Perry, you can be my first kiss. But since he said that he wanted to save it specifically for a woman that he feels like he's in love with, at that point, I felt like she crossed the line. And Carl, you said, and you mentioned this Matt Walsh article, how it's about being famous is one thing, but it's also just being a woman too. It's just in this day and age, it's easier to get away with it. It's this whole Me Too in this Me Too day and age. I think it's mostly been a very positive thing, and a lot of men who really deserve to be called out and punished for it have been. But it's also become a little bit of a witch hunt too, and females need to be held just as accountable.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that females can be just as vindictive and sexually exploitive as men can be, and that's part of that whole feminist movement where they say, well, we can do what men want. Well, that's not really solving the inequality issues that they claim to solve, right? It's right. It doesn't make it right for you to be just as much of a jerk as, and I'm saying that nicely because Carl knows that I can be much more.
Well, you did say a worse word earlier, so we all know it now.
But yeah, we're trying to make this a family show, but the deal is that it doesn't make it okay if you're a jerk just as much as the men is. It doesn't solve the problem of evil, and to me, as a woman, I still have to understand that the struggles of and respect the sexuality of a man, and that's not fair. That's not fair that a woman can sit there and exploit the sexuality of a man, and then expect them to respect my sexuality. That's not you nailed on the head, Michael, when you said he gave the caveat of I'm saving this for. And part of it is not just about the whole Me Too movement, but deeper than that, as Catholics, we're sitting there going, you know what? You didn't even respect my religious, personal values. You didn't respect me on an emotional level. You didn't respect me on a intellectual level. And so for Katy Perry to pull that crap, sorry for the four-letter word, but that crap, to trick someone. I mean, I've been tricked as a female, multiple times, walking into a bar, being harassed by men. I've been tricked multiple times in dates, etc. And it's no different than if you did national television. You feel pressure beyond belief on national television, knowing that your audition and everything you say and do at that moment is being recorded. And you're being judged by this person who you're clearly a subordinate to. I mean, there's no other clearer example of sexual harassment towards someone who is a subordinate than that. and to have and as a female, I am completely like angry at Katy Perry saying, "How dare you, as a woman, do that crap